A week ago at this Mass, I was in the sacristy getting ready, and I was talking to Coach Zerlo, the sacristan, who told me about the very sad news from Queensbury Middle School. The shocking news that one of the cornerstone teachers there, Mrs. Bennett, ELA teacher in the middle school, beloved coach, died totally unexpectedly, shocking her family and the entire community. Later that morning, someone asked me if I had heard about what happened to the twins. Many of you know exactly that story. Those two women, Nina and Sue, who were always seen walking all over town, two twins in their 70s who lived together and were just fixtures in our community. It was a week ago today that they were walking, as they always did, but they couldn't walk on the sidewalk because of the snowbanks and the ice. And so while trying to get around that in the street, Nina was struck and killed by a car. It was a rough weekend. So every Sunday, I go back to the rectory at the end of the day and take a look at the readings for the next week so I can mull them over as I get ready for the process of writing the homily. And when I read these words, I realized how perfect they were for our community right now. Blessed are you who are now weeping. Blessed, Jesus says, you are when you're sad, when you're mourning, and when you're weeping. And that's not all he says is blessed. He said it's blessed to be poor. It's blessed to be hungry. It's blessed to have people misunderstand you and say nasty things about you. A few years ago, I started a YouTube channel, and at the beginning of COVID, it exploded because it was one of the only ways that the people in my parish could stay connected to one another through those messages while we were all in quarantine. And I have no control over the comments that come in when I post a video. And many of the comments are lovely, almost all of them maybe, but not all. Some of them are nasty. Some of them are cruel. And I think, are they talking about me? Why would they be talking about me that way? Jesus says, when that happens, it's a blessing. Jeremiah in the first reading says, you got to be careful when you start to realize that without noticing it, you've been putting your trust in human beings and in earthly goods. You be careful, because life doesn't work that way. It's not static. You don't reach a plateau and then stay there for all of life. So for all the people who thought, we've got enough money for retirement, we'll be fine, there might be a Bernie Madoff you didn't see coming, and suddenly you're not fine. When we see other people dealing with misfortune, sometimes we think, they must have somehow brought it on themselves. They must have done something wrong. But maybe you know someone who's experienced misfortune that wasn't their fault at all. Feels like that's almost always the way it is if you pay attention to people's situations. Some of us think, I've done everything that I've been able to accomplish on my own. I'm self-made. So I don't know about those other people and what they're going through, but I don't need to worry about that. I just need to stay focused on my goals. And Jesus says, just you wait. You be careful with that, because that's not how life is. Jeremiah says, imagine a tree that is planted in a variable climate. A tree must know that it can find water even if it doesn't rain, because droughts come. So he said, blessed is the tree that is planted by the riverside with deep roots that go all around the bedrock and the shale to get the water that they need. They don't depend on rainfall. Cursed, he says, is the one who thinks, It's going to rain tomorrow, I'm sure it will. Because it may not. Jesus uses the word woe. Woe to you. Woe to you if you think that you can only be grateful to God in the good times. Because he says the problem is, if fortunes change and you lose your money, or you lose your health, or you become sad for a very good reason, or your reputation gets shaky, if that happens, he says, you're not only going to have to go through the suffering, but you're going to lose your relationship with God because you're not going to know how to talk to God anymore. Because you didn't have the roots that went deep enough. Imagine how sad it is if you not only lose the fortunes that you had, but you also lose that confidence, that trust, that relationship with God. Woe to you if that happens, he says. Going to the dentist is not my favorite thing. That's probably not a surprise to you. I bet a lot of you would not put the dentist office near the top of your favorite places. But whenever I go, I am always grateful that I am alive for the age of Novocaine. Thank you, Lord, for Novocaine. Can you imagine being born hundreds of years ago and those stories of where they had to get a patient drunk and tie them to the chair? Thank goodness for Novocaine. But Novocaine, like all earthly things, wears off. It wears off. So it provides you with this great circle of protection while the pain is there. But woe to you, Jesus might say, if you start chewing on your cheek without knowing it. Woe to you, because that Novocaine will wear off. Alcohol's the same way. First drink or two, everything is better. You're funnier, you look in the mirror, you like what you see, you go out on the dance floor without any reservations, everything's great. But Jesus might say, woe to you who have forgotten about hangovers. Woe to you who thought that this night would never end, because all nights end. So all of us have to consider what we would do, what life would be like if whatever we were counting on was taken away or turned upside down. If we thought we had enough money, but then we didn't. If we thought everything would be okay, but then it wasn't. If we go to the doctor's office expecting it to be a normal checkup and we get life-changing news. Jesus says, woe to you who look at the poor and think they're not like me at all. Woe to you who have forgotten the phrase that we were all taught for good reason. There, except for the grace of God, am I. That's me. I'm just like them, except for some grace that is temporarily protected me from that. Woe to you, Jesus might say, if you take delight when you watch entertainment news and see that someone got canceled. Woe to you if you took delight when someone, even if it was their own fault, even if they did or said something bad, if their flaws were what tripped them up. He might say, do you have no flaws at all? Would you be able to withstand the scrutiny? Woe to you. There's a woman who is very involved in our parish. She's in a small group like Katie is. She is a big volunteer. If I said her name or told you about her, you'd say, oh yeah, I know her. Oh, she's wonderful. And she found out recently that she has cancer. All of us who know her thought, no, not her. I went to visit her and we were talking about what the experience has been like. And she admitted that it's been scary and emotional. And she's gone through every emotion you can imagine. But she said, but one day I realized I have no right to say, why me? She said, I don't say, why me? I say, why not me? My husband had cancer. I'm no better than he. A lot of my friends have had cancer. A lot of them have gotten better. Some of them have passed. But she said, why them and not me? Why should I not have the experiences of life that other people have. So for Lent this year, we're going to be focusing on this dynamic because, like today's reading, the readings in the Gospel of Luke in Lent have us wrestle with some of those deeper questions about the way life can turn so unexpectedly unfair so quickly. We know that things are going to happen in life, that's part of living, but it can fill us with a lot of dread and uncertainty. There's going to be times that we're going to scratch our heads. Past 2 years we've done a lot of that and thought, seriously? Seriously, this? And a lot of us are naturally, because of our relationship with God, going to say, seriously, God? I have to go through this? So we need to maybe use this Lent to figure out how to deepen our roots, to be able to go around the rocks and the shale, to be able to get to the water so that if there is a drought, and we know about droughts, and some people know even better than we do about droughts, how to get to that life-sustaining faith that we need. So one of the things we're going to do is offer all of you the chance to read a book as a parish family called Seriously, God? That's actually the title. Seriously, God? And it's all about these kind of issues in our life and how we can approach them with our faith. And we're going to give those books out for free, and we're inviting people to join small groups so that they can wrestle in a beautiful and connected way with other people in the parish who are going through the same kind of things about how this message affects their life. Now, as Katie was saying, we've had small groups before. We've launched small groups, and we have a lot of people in small groups now. But we can see the fruit. The people that are in these small groups cannot say enough about how it's enriching their life and growing their faith. So we have a goal of doubling the number of people that are in small groups. That's our goal, to double it. And there's a lot of people who are willing to help us with this. We've had people come forward and say, I'll host a group. We've already got 12 people that are willing to do that. We think we're going to have more. And you'll read in the bulletin, I've written a little bit about what that entails. It's not really leading, it's hosting. It's welcoming people into a room, maybe in your house, maybe here on the parish campus, and just being able to turn on a YouTube video and have some coffee on. Something simple like that. The rest of it is provided to you by us. And you might find that Lent is the perfect time to do this. This is exactly what you're needing and looking for. So as you leave today, you're welcome to stop at the welcome desk and leave us your name and contact information. You can also look in the bulletin to see other ways to do that. You can go to our parish website. You can give us a call at the rectory office. But whatever you do, consider this invitation, because life is so unexpected. And when I think back to last Sunday morning and just getting hit with unexpected hard news again and again and again, it reminded me that all of us need to recognize that God is with us in the blessings and in the hard times. If we don't know how to reach out to God beyond prosperity, we're not going to know what to do when we hit adversity.